Hey guys, here we are again in MOCCAfest, and I am with the High School of Art and Design. Go ahead and say your names, guys.
I'm Mohammed.
I'm Jade. I'm Lee.
And talk to me a little bit about what you guys doing here in MOCCA.
Well, we're a career and technical school, so we like our curriculum really is based off of being able to get a job as an artist later in life. So this is one of the things that we usually do. We have other majors at our school, such as film, and they do festivals and stuff, and photography does those photography festivals and stuff, right? And one of the things that cartooning does, which is what we're mostly in, right, is that we go to conventions such as Comic-Con, which we did go to last year, and this year MOCCAfest, obviously.
With that in mind, what have you been learning in these shows about these shows and what it's been doing? Obviously, you're selling your stuff, right? And you guys are doing your part to get recognized. So I'll start with you. What have you been learning from this experience? And I love your math, by the way.
Basically just through how to network and all that stuff, and also just how to make prints, how to sell them. And also just I guess just how to talk to people and get out there and stuff. Yeah.
And as far as funding goes, how are you guys working on funding? Is it family? Is it friends? Are you doing grants or anything like that? What do you guys have to do as far as funding to get a table like this? Because obviously this is not something that's just free of charge, right? I'm sure the school helps out in some way, but what you guys doing to get your work out?
We kind of just sign up for it because not a whole lot of kids want even though we're a career technical school and this is a great honor, not a lot of kids are confident enough to sell their work outside. So this is the people who are confident enough in themselves. So it really teaches confidence.
Yeah, I will say, as artists, most people are introverts. Most artists are introverts, so it's hard to come out to talk to people and really just to network and get people to know it, right? And I commend all of you for doing the work. Keep up the great work. I'm here with Fishcoin Press. We're going to talk a little bit about their work. I'm here with Jarrett. So, how you doing, Jarrett?
How you doing? I'm good.
I'm good. I'm having fun with the show. It's been a great show. How's the show been for you so far?
It's been fun. We're enjoying meeting people and sharing what we're doing.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your work here that you guys have.
Yeah. So we do a mixture of comics, books, and trading cards, and what we're doing is illustrating the Bible. So, there's a lot of illustrated Bible material out there, and we're trying to introduce some stuff that's as good as anything else out there, and helps people experience the Bible as literature and beautiful art. So
yeah, so tell me a little bit about the trading cards, because obviously trading cards is a big thing, especially with stuff like Pokemon, Magic the Gathering. And how's your trading card works? Similar to them or different to them? Obviously, It's based off of biblical characters. Yeah. But talk to me a little bit about those cards.
Yeah. So essentially, what we set out to do is work with artists from all over the world, and each card takes a specific passage and a specific word from that passage, where people can enjoy art that's based on it, right? But then also, each card on the back of it has a Bible study as well to go deeper in understanding that passage. And they're just like trading cards, where you get a booster pack and you don't know what cards you're going to get, and you enjoy the surprise of collecting them.
That's cool. And then tell me a little bit about the comic books. So you have, I noticed the smaller ones, more like they're more like ash cans, right? Back in the day. And then I see that you have other ones that reminisce, and I'm looking at that over there. Yeah. That reminisces of some very old school tracks that I remember growing up as a kid. Yeah. So talk a little bit about these books in particular, and what makes them different than, I guess you could say, your average comic book, or even biblical comic book that's out there.
Sure. Yeah. So these three smallers were inspired by Jack Chick tracks, right? I remember finding one time and reading through it, and just being surprised at how harsh and judgmental they kind of come across, right? Yeah. And so I just had the idea to instead of writing this evangelistic story, going back to the actual parables that Jesus was teaching, right? And so each one of them is a different parable that is, as each of the parables were a different way Jesus was trying to describe the gospel, right? To describe the coming of the kingdom. And so each of those adapts it in a new modern spin kind of way, and introduces the story to people. So
Awesome.
yeah, man.
Great stuff, man. The work is beautiful, I have to admit, because one of the things I remember growing up in a faith-based organization, and something I dealt with a lot with comic books and things of that nature, was just the fact that there wasn't a lot of faith-based stuff. And what was out there was very cheesy.
Sure.
The artwork was not so up to art to par.
Sure.
And what I'm noticing here is that it's completely different. What I've immediately gathered is that this is high quality art.
Oh, thanks, man.
This is stuff that has taken the time to look good, and not just, I guess you could say, not just to deliver a message.
Sure.
But there is an underlining theme. It's a nice look. It's a nice feel. It's something that somebody might actually want to look at, as opposed to something like, I don't know if I want to touch that.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that comes in and says, what's this about, and why should I read this? Is it just like any other gospel book or something like that? What would you tell them? Something like that.
Well, as our tagline is see the Bible for yourself, right? And so kind of our goal overall is to encourage people to read the Bible, and set aside anything they've heard before, right? And the art is meant to give people like a fresh, brand new encounter with the text. The Bible is like ancient literature, like we have a lot of other ancient literature classics. And so we're trying to give people the experience, whether Christian, faith-based or not, you can experience the beauty of this literature and maybe learn the message behind it too. So,
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it was great. Museum of Kirby, the Kirby Museum. I'm here with Ram, and talk to me a little bit about the Kirby Museum.
Well, we were founded in 2005, just as a small nonprofit dedicated to promoting the work and life of Jack Kirby, just to get the word out about who he is, what kind of a person he was, and his art, and his just kind of supporting comic book artists in general in a way. We've been virtual ever since. We were set up in Hoboken, New Jersey. We have a small collection space. We don't have a public-facing exhibit space, but we do pop-up. We've had pop-ups in Manhattan. We set up at conventions and host panels and help out publishers and movie makers with any kind of inquiries that they might have for Jack Kirby.
I know growing up as a kid, Jack Kirby was always a big deal, right? Every time you would go to a show, every time you listened to it, and everyone said, who was your influence? 9 times out of 10, the name Kirby will come out, right?
Yeah.
And today, as people get older, and now we're starting to see more appreciation for Jack Kirby's work. You see it in the movies.
Yeah.
The pop-up that you did in New York, where it was during the time the Eternals movie came out. What can you say? Why is Kirby? I know why. I'm sure you know why. But I would like to know for my subscribers, why is Kirby the king?
He was somebody that, from the early days of comic books back in like 1940, he was instrumental in developing the language of comics, of comic books themselves, with people like Will Eisner and Joe Simon and Jack Cole. And just having been the kind of guy who loved science fiction and made a really big splash with romance comics in the late 40s. I mean, he was the ultimate comic book creator. He wasn't really able to go and work in advertising or work in movies or work in comic strips. He did do some comic strips, but when it comes to comic books, Jack Kirby was the king. And there are times when you can look at his work and you don't even need to look at the dialogue, because his visual ability of storytelling was so dynamic, particularly if it's a fight scene or the Silver Surfer is zooming around and the Human Torch and the Thing are fighting him. It's just an amazing sequence of comic book pages where you know exactly what's going on, and Jack is just taking you in a way that other artists would not really pull you in that way. He was, if you gave him the time to and looked at his work, you would feel like you were in the work. That other artists didn't give you that. Other artists were, you could read the stories and they were great, but Jack Kirby really there was something about his ability to draw the reader in, and it really affected a lot of people.
Yeah, I fully agree with you 100% on that, 1,000% even. I look at his work now, and you see it. One of the things that blended really well with his art was colors, right? You look at a picture like that, it's a painting now, right? And it's just a comic book page or something like that. His understanding of color in a black and white medium is something that, for me, stands out so much, right? Because again, most of his work was just pencils, but he has his dab on inks and everything like that, but he's known for his pencils for most part. But it's his understanding of the medium in particular, and going, I guess you could say, beyond a normal understanding of it. Is there anything else that you guys are planning to do in the upcoming future that you can share with us?
Right now, it's mostly about getting back to comic book conventions. We're here, and actually right now we're also at WonderCon, but not me. My
you are at WonderCon right now.
It's incredible.
You have taken Kirby to the next level.
But the Kirby Museum is there, and we're having a panel. There's the San Diego MOCCAfest, the Comic-Con International San Diego, New York Comic-Con, hopefully something in Chicago at some point. We still need to make it there, but and we're looking at another pop-up. We like to have our pop-ups, and we have a great people that we work with to make those happen. So, that's what we're up to.
Last thing I want to share, because I did talk to you about it last time. When we went to the museum, when we went to the pop-up that you had, there was a designer by the name of, he went by Foamhead Designs. He's part of the channel. Hey Richard, how you doing?
Hey Richard.
we're shouting him out. I'll make sure he gets
sure
this.
He knows. Yeah.
How did that interaction come into play?
Oh man, it was the best.
Yeah.
So we were set up at New York Comic-Con back in October, and clearly we all knew that the Eternals movie was happening. We were planning the pop-up. We were kind of promoting. We kind of had to save the date for the pop-up that we were gonna, feature the Eternals. And then Richard and his buddies show up in these helmets, and we're like, Richard, this is the best thing around. Like, how can we make something? How can we team up for this pop-up? And he was just so into it, and he made it happen for us. And he brought. So not only did he bring his 4 helmets, and they were fantastic, interactive, selfie moments at our pop-up. We had so many great photos that we shared out on social media of people wearing the helmets. But then at the end, when he came to pick them up, he brought us an ultimate nullifier.
Oh, wow.
And if you look on our feed, you'll see it.
Oh, I gotta look that up.
It's the best.
He didn't
it's
tell
like,
me about the nullifier.
Oh man. So we had this great shot of our trustee Mike, who, holding the nullifier in kind of a foreshortened Kirby style, saying, "That's it. This pop-up is nullified." It was so great. Richard is awesome.
Yeah, he was a great guest on our channel. Thank you so much. Again, I love Kirby. What's not to say about Kirby? He's part of the reason why these things exist now. So, thanks again, guys, and thank you.
Big.
All right.
Pleasure.